So my goal with people is get themselves to do something they never thought they could do, and then it opens up another possibility. It literally opens up their nervous system for something, what else could be possible. That's why I kind of always go to the superhero mythos, called the superhero you, that version of ourselves that we're not waiting for Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. It's like, you are Wonder Woman, you are Batman, you are Superman. It's just we have to commit ourselves to be able to unleashing that. My message to people, whether it's on stage or on the podcast or anything, is that, we are more than what we're demonstrating, that we've been sold this lie, that people are taught through school. Like when I do these demos and I on stage memorize 100 names and words and numbers forwards and backwards, and it appears effortlessly, I always tell people, I don't do this to impress you. I do this to express to you what's really possible, because the truth is everyone can do this too, and so much more. Apply towards creativity and focus and flow and problem solving and thinking and really overcoming the biggest challenges of their life and maybe even the world. The challenge is we were taught a lie. We were taught a lie that somehow our intelligence, our potential, our learning, our memory somehow is fixed, our creativity is fixed, our thinking is fixed like our shoe size. And what we've discovered, as you know, more about brain science, in the past 2 decades, we've discovered more than the previous 2,000 years. And what we know is that we're grossly underestimating our own capacity to be able to grow, to be able to contribute, to improve our intelligence and our influence and our impact. And I want to kind of pull the veil behind and just say, hey, this is about transcending. This is about ending the trance that we're not good enough, that we're not smart enough, that we're not this genius, and telling the truth. And the truth is, we're faster and we're smarter than we think. And not just to be able to memorize things, but be able to really solve significant challenges. And maybe that these challenges that we're going through are the lessons that we need to learn the most. And so education, I feel like a lot of people feel like that when they graduate school, their learning is done. In fact, the 2 big dips in cognitive performance is usually when people graduate school, and the second one is when they retire from work. So often when people retire, their mind, they feel like, their body is not too far behind either, because of that connection. I feel like in order for people to transcend, to end the trance, right, that we talked about earlier, that a lot of people are just trying to change. A lot of times, like I just did a podcast on habits, right, how to be able to adopt new habits and also delete and get rid of, break bad habits, right? And so a lot of people always want to usually make a change on behavior. They want to get themselves to work out. They want to get themselves to meditate. They want to get themselves to read more each day. They want to get themselves to X, right? Or they want to stop some behavior. They want to stop smoking. They want to stop eating this food. They want to stop. I always tell people, stop checking your phone the first hour of the day. I think that if you want to be an elite mental performer or, real life superhero, you don't want to start off by checking the phone. We talked about this in the past, because you're training yourself to be reactive, right? You're getting your dopamine, you're frying your nervous system with all these likes, shares, comments, and everything else like that. And so anything you want to stop, so like say you want to stop checking your phone, right, in the morning, then there's certain, like that's a behavior, right? But there's so many other elements to be able to change, because most behaviors don't stick. Right? And so like what I'm thinking about when I want to transform or transcend or make a real positive change, I'm looking at all the other areas of ourself. So I'm looking at, for example, our environment. Are people setting up their environment to win? So change doesn't just happen at this level of behavior, but what you have to change the environment. So for example, if you want to stop eating a certain food, it helps to be able to have not have that food in your home, right? So you change the environment. If you want to read more, it helps to help set up your environment where you have the books readily available, where you're going to read it because they perform, right? You want to trigger it to help remind you to do the behavior, right? So are you setting up the environment in a way that triggers the behavior that you want? But also another level of change that we need to address. Let's say someone's watching this and they have something they want to change, and it's not sticking. Then maybe it's the environment. Maybe you could check about your habits, but maybe it's your beliefs and your values. Some people will not get themselves to read every day because they don't value reading every single day, right? Some people won't, let's say the behavior they want to change is, we did a podcast on how to remember names. I could teach them step by step on how to remember the name of most people that they meet, yet they won't do it because they don't value it, or because that's not important to them, or they don't believe that they can. When I do trainings in groups or online, my favorite way of changing a belief is getting them to do something they never thought they could do, because it opens up another possibility. So for example, in 1954, Roger Bannister, he broke the 4-minute mile, right? And so, which is amazing, right? Throughout human history, nobody can run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Now, if you look into it, how he was able to do it is he would visualize himself crossing the finish line, looking at the clock, and it says 3:59. Because he knew that success is an inside-out process. That first it had to happen in here in order for it to happen out there, right? Dr. Wayne Dyer has a famous phrase where it's not, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. It's like, I'll see it when I believe it, right? Because it's the opposite. And so with Roger Bannister, he saw it in here, be able to produce it outside, just like any innovator or inventor or writer or any creator, right? But what was interesting is after that, what happened? Nobody could do it from the beginning of humanity. All of a sudden, one person does it. What happens after that? Everyone starts doing it. And so that's the thing. Now, what happened? Was there a big change that year in, training methodology and nutrition? Or no, it was a change of belief. So my goal with people when it comes to learning is get themselves to do something they never thought they could do, and then it opens up another possibility. It literally opens up their nervous system for something, what else could be possible. It's not about resources, right? Because we know a lot of people who didn't have any resources that were able to impact the world. It's about our internal resources. And what I'm saying is optimizing our environment, optimizing our behaviors, our capabilities, our beliefs and our values, and our identity, right? That at the highest level, our identity, because you can't just change your belief or your values or your behavior even if you don't believe you're that kind of person. That's why I kind of always go to the superhero mythos, because I want people to claim that identity. I call it the superhero you, that version of ourselves that we're not waiting for Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. It's like, you are Wonder Woman, you are Batman, you are Superman. It's just we have to commit ourselves to be able to unleashing that. I would start with, they call it the 2 smallest words in the English language, but they're the 2 most powerful words in the English language. It's I am, right? I am, because whatever you put after that determines your destination or your destiny, right? And I think your identity is who you believe you are. And I feel like when we're talking about playing to the edge of our limits and really playing there and living in that place where we're stretching, I do believe, and I get inspired every time I see your Insta story. You're like, it's like 4:30 and you're working out, you're doing your work, but that's who you are, right? You don't have to fight it because you can't imagine yourself not doing that. And that's the level of that I think is what's most important. So I would think about going through an exercise, and I've done this with friends. I've had them sit, or in groups, we do these conferences and such, and I have people pair up with someone they don't know, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna do an exercise, I am, and they're gonna talk about, they're literally gonna fill in the blanks for 3 minutes until I call time.
Wow.
So you have to go and you could do this right now. If you were to fill in I am blank, I would say, I am a student, I am a teacher, I am a son, I'm a, all this. But eventually I'll get to a point where I don't know what else to say. And that's what the real interesting answers come out of. And I think it's a nice exercise when we talk about self-awareness being a superpower, really knowing who we think we are. Because if we don't believe that we're a public speaker or we're a great parent or we're a great learner or genius, then we'll never be able to reach our full potential, because that will always be the ceiling that we bump up against. When we're talking about beliefs and values, that's the why they do what they do. When we're talking about capabilities, that's the how, right? That's the habit, right? The skill acquisition. When we're talking the behavior, that's the what they're doing, right? And then when we're talking about environment, that's really the where and the when, right? So I'm always going back, if I want to create change, create a new habit, create a new level of learning for somebody, I'm addressing those different levels. And if I ignore one with somebody else or myself, then it's not going to stick, right? Because you're not going to have that congruency where it's going to affect, where it becomes second nature. And so going back to this, I think if I'm modeling genius and genius leaves clues, I'm thinking about, okay, where are they and when are they doing these things? So certain people are early birds, some people are night owls. So I could teach people, like I teach people how to read one book a week. I really think leaders are readers, that in order to stay competitive in today's day and age, if somebody has decades of experience and they put it into a book and you can sit down and read that in a few days, download decades into days, I mean, that's a superpower, right? That's a huge advantage. And so I'm thinking about, but some people, when I'm telling them to practice, and I get these results in about 4 or 5 weeks, where it's permanent, where they can read 300% faster with the same or better comprehension. Essentially read something in 20 minutes that normally takes normal people an hour. Right. But the reason why, but you have to practice. But some people will practice at inopportune times of the day and they won't get the same results. So part of it is the self-awareness, knowing what they call your chronotype. When's the optimal time to do this? Depending on your body type, there's certain times of the day it's better to work out. There's better times of the day to be able to make love. There are better times of the day to be able to read, to check email, to ask for a raise. So I would think about, like, if geniuses find their element, their sweet spot, and they set up their routines and their rituals throughout the day to be able to align with their time when they're most productive. If they don't have a lot of energy in the morning, working out is probably not as good as doing it some other time. So the when and the where, and setting up your environment for success, because all your triggers are there that allow them. So I think geniuses set themselves up. So for example, they have their laptop, but they only use their laptop for work, and it's anchored, that's part of their environment, it's anchored to get them into flow states to be able to write or be productive. They don't use their laptop to binge on Netflix. Right? They have an iPad that they use when they do that, because that's the state that they want to anchor for that, and they don't use that iPad to do work. And then the behaviors, most people would know because they're intuitive. These people are investing in themselves. They're investing in self-care. I always tell people that self-love and self-care is not selfish. A lot of people, they're there for their friends and their family and their clients and everybody else, but they're not refilling their cup. So I think that we have to be, grow givers, meaning we grow so we have more to give to other people, so we have more impact with other individuals.